executives from the USL might have been their most impressive since opening night.
It was.
Week 15 is a busy one for San Antonio FC, and they begin it tonight against the leaders of the Mountain Division, El Paso Locomotive, here at Toyota Field this evening on Bally Sports. And a pleasant good evening, everyone. We welcome you upstairs to the broadcast booth. The coach, Tim Hankinson. I'm Dan Weiss. Great to have you with us. Coach, San Antonio FC has won back-to-back matches for the first time this season, and their 3-0 victory over New Mexico United here last Wednesday in front of several executives from the USL might have been their most impressive since opening night.
It was, and a lot of it's, starting to push towards 400, and that means they're controlling the game with great possession, and that creates great attacks.
As for Nathan, Coach, 4 goals in the last 2 matches, back-to-back braces. He did not score in his first 10 matches of the season, but I think it started for him with those 2 Mexican friendlies against Querétaro and Pumas. That really got his confidence going with goals in both those matches.
Right, you can have all the talent in the world, but confidence at everything. And as a striker, you're streaky. You're going to have a run of games and get hot, and everything you touch is going to find the back of the net, and that's what's happening right now.
Big matchup tonight in the Mountain Division. San Antonio FC begins the night in 6th, but they're only 2 points below the playoff line, trailing Austin Bolt, who they'll see later this week. El Paso Locomotive has had an outstanding season, just 1 blemish to their record so far.
Yeah, with only 1 loss, and I noticed that, they don't have any attacking statistics in the top 10 in the league, so they're a team that knows how to not beat themselves. But when you're number one, to be number one, you've got to beat number one. That's the job tonight, and that's what San Antonio's got to be able to do.
Should be a fun one tonight. San Antonio FC gets El Paso tonight. They get Austin on Saturday, and for these fans, last time they'll see San Antonio until the 3rd week in August. A Copa Tejas showdown coming up next here on Bally Sports. San Antonio FC Soccer on Bally Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Go to buyatoyota.com or visit your local Toyota dealer today. Week 15 of the USL Championship campaign begins at Toyota Field tonight. San Antonio FC has been at home for much of the month of July. Will close out this month with Jose Gallegos coming off a 1-goal, 2-assist match in the 3-0 win over New Mexico United last Wednesday for San Antonio FC's fourth victory of the season. We bring you starting 11s for both sides tonight, beginning with El Paso Locomotive atop the Mountain Division. 7 wins against 4 draws, just 1 defeat, anchored in goal by third-year man Logan Ketterer. And this is a club that brings back 14 players from last year's club. One of their new faces is a familiar face, Luis Lignac up top. Last year with San Antonio, 8 goals in 15 matches to lead SAFC. San Antonio FC, tonight they're starting 11. Go back to a 4-2-3-1 formation, which has worked for them in the last 2 matches. Matt Cardone makes his 91st appearance in USL play. The big key missing for San Antonio tonight, PC out in the midfield with an injury. SAFC has not won in 7 matches when PC does not play. 0-3-4 as opposed to 4-0-2 when he's in the lineup. We're underway along with the coach Tim Hankinson, our entire crew. I'm Dan Weiss. Thanks for joining us here on Bally Sports. San Antonio FC in their home black kits in the checkered red and white. El Paso Locomotive in their away white kits in the light blue and black trim. And Nathan offside early, making the run as Ketterer comes out anyway to meet him. And you can obviously tell El Paso prepared for what they're going to see from San Antonio FC and their aggressive press tonight.
Yeah, and Nathan is not going to surprise them. They've seen these runs through the channels, and they're going to track and pick them up very quickly. It's important for El Paso to also get pressure to the ball so that the midfielders for San Antonio don't get an early or an easy look at those runs. Otherwise, getting behind that defense can lead to a lot of dangerous opportunities tonight.
Temperature kickoff 91 degrees, dew points in the 70s. Feels like about 97 out there on the pitch. A little bit of a breeze coming out of the east-southeast, about 9 miles an hour, but the hot, dry summer probably for the rest of the way here in South Texas after the abundance of rain throughout June and July. This is the first meeting of 4 this year between San Antonio and El Paso. It's the 4th all-time meeting between these squads. San Antonio with 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss against El Paso. And the only time they have met here at Toyota Field was back on June 26th of 2019. More than 2 years ago, they played to a 0-0 draw.
You can see the patience that has developed in the San Antonio game. Again, early in the season, seeing very few passes, going very direct, and that would lead to a lot of turnovers. But now it's become a team.
Nathan, what an opportunity. Errant miscue on the back line there by El Paso, leaving the ball sitting in front of their keeper, Logan Ketterer.
Yeah, but now it's becoming a team. It's evolving where now they're looking to keep the ball, more patience, and that sets up the timing of that run by Nathan. Through the channels and the through ball that leads to goals.
As a look at Mark Lowry in his 3rd season. As I mentioned, brings back 14 players from a year ago, but what amazes me, Coach, is he has 9 players still on the roster that were with the club in their inaugural season back in 2019. They have advanced to the Western Conference Final in each of their first 2 years in USL, but have not been ever able to get over to the hump to get to the championship game.
Mark is a young coach, started as an academy coach for the Jacksonville Armada in the old NASL, and finally got his chance to take the Jacksonville team, had success. The NASL folded, and El Paso was smart enough to recognize his talents as a young coach. And he has put this roster together using players of his past from Jacksonville, guys like Jerome, and also looking at the most successful team in a given year that he was coaching Jacksonville, which was Miami FC, bringing guys like Richie Ryan and Dylan Mayers and others from Miami. So that brings a lot of continuity and know-how into the squad.
As Edo Borelli gets forward here, and you're going to see 2 very contrasting styles tonight, because these are the 2 clubs at opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to successful passes and passing accuracy. El Paso, number 1, sitting at 85%, and San Antonio FC at the bottom sitting at 71%. So El Paso's going to play a very poised game, move the ball around, build possession. San Antonio FC, as we've come to love, they're going to take their chances when they find those opportunities.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the numbers in analysis. So far this season, El Paso has made 5,888 passes, and San Antonio only 3,780. That's like 2,000 passes difference. That's a lot of extra attacking.
El Paso probably by the end of the night will have completed over 100 more passes than San Antonio FC. Again, that's just kind of the difference in style. This is a through ball into Luis Solignac, and the former SAFC striker unable to get it past the defender, Sam Glito, covering on the left side. Should mention tonight it is a first start this season over on the right side for Connor Maloney, who made his season debut after missing the first 11 matches of the season last Wednesday against New Mexico. Came on as a second-half substitute, fifth-year player from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Plays collegiate soccer at Penn State and was a part of the Columbus Crew organization for a couple of seasons. Good to have Connor back on that right side. We missed him, Coach, running up and down that far touchline.
He was a machine. I mean, he was an endless engine that just would not stop. And, you know, it's good to see him continue his career, but he certainly missed here.
And certainly good to have Connor back again. Just all the injuries that continue to develop for San Antonio FC. We mentioned PC out tonight. Lower body injury, not expected to be serious. Jasser Kamiri also out tonight, lower body injury. He too left the match along with PC last week. PC went out in the 17th minute. Jasser Kamiri went out in the 63rd. Santiago Patino was revealed last week by the club. He is going to be out indefinitely with a stress fracture of his foot. So a tough loss up top with Patino, but as you and I were talking about before the match, the offense has kind of been on a rotational sort of merry-go-round when it comes to guys stepping up and seizing the opportunity.
Right. I mean, I think that it creates great competition within the group, and coaches just have to recognize who's having a great week, who's coming off their last game with results. And like I said, the strikers are streaky. A striker can go 3-5 games scoring, and then go 3-5 games and doesn't even get a touch or can't even get close to the back of the net. And that's when you have to look at your training every day and say, who looks like they're on their game, who's confident, who's ready to get the job done.
It's a good turn, and Josue Aaron Gomez gives it a go, and Matt Cardoni is able to keep it alive and in play there as it was deflected. A lot of familiar names for El Paso that we saw last season. San Antonio FC went to El Paso last year and lost 2-1. It was a late goal, Coach. Came, I think it was right before the end of the second half in stoppage time to get a 2-1 victory off a set piece that I believe was an own goal, if I remember correctly.
That's correct.
Deflected off San Antonio FC center back and ended up in the back of the net.
Well, you know, the other interesting thing for fans that are watching that like to see tactical matchups, what system matches up against another system and where are the weaknesses and strengths. This is a classic tonight because you have San Antonio playing a 4-2-3-1. The most important part of that is the back four with the double pivot sitting in front against a 4-4-2, which is really a diamond midfield where you have Richie Ryan playing at the deep centerpiece of the diamond, and then a young player, only 17 years old, playing in the playmaker role at the top of the diamond, and then two players on each side. That diamond, as it moves, can create numerical advantages against San Antonio's system, and that means San Antonio's wing midfielders have got to start withdrawing inside to defend to make sure the sides of the diamond don't run free.
That 17-year-old that you're referring to is Diego Luna, the native of Sunnyvale, California, who played at the Barcelona Academy in Arizona, and he's the one with the ball here, second on the club with 3 goals, and he'll earn El Paso's first corner of the match here.
I think we have to pronounce that Barcelona.
Barcelona. Easy to see Diego Luna, second on the club, 15 chances to go along with his 3 goals in 12 matches this season. Nick Ross over to take the corner, standing next to him, Luis Aguinaga. Ryan to Luna, heading it along into the box. And taken out here by Nathan.
San Antonio has shown great composure to break as far as they can, but instead of forcing it, knowing you don't have teammates that have caught up yet, is let's be patient. We've carried it as far as we can. Let's get some possession going and get some numbers around the ball. Start to build our opportunities rather than always be just a direct play.
You feel good for SAFC, and especially Alan Marcina here over the last 2 weeks, as their finally rewarded for their efforts. Coach Marcina, in the 7-match winless streak, kept saying, you know, we're doing a lot of the right things. We're just not finishing. We're not executing at the appropriate times of the match. And a turnaround here in the last 2 weeks, getting 3 goals in back-to-back matches, 6 goals, and we showed you the numbers at the top. 50% conversion rate, 6 goals on just 12 shots, where prior to they were looking at a conversion rate of 6%. 4 goals on their previous 62 shots. Big difference, obviously, when you can see the ball go into the back of the net.
Right. Well, you know, part of the preseason is trying to find those combination of players that can create goals and can get the goals. And it's been a slow start in that regard for San Antonio to find that right combination.
Numbers for Locomotive here. Josue Aaron Gomez off the woodwork as Cardoni got a piece of it. And the first good opportunity belonging to the visitors here. And you saw the build-up, Coach, from the other end of the field. It was beautiful right through the middle of the park.
Right, very controlled, very precise, always taking your first touch forward and making that next pass forward so they can create numbers quickly before San Antonio had a chance to organize. Well, and going back to the strikers, is Nathan certainly has made a mark in this last week. Earlier in the season, we did not see goal production of them, and therefore they have to go with Patino, and they have to switch then to Dylan because of the suspension. All 3 strikers are completely different in style and what they bring to the table. Dylan is more of a target. Patino is more hangout, classic old school number 9, wait to poach a goal, but nothing dynamic in the running. Nathan is a runner. He's a sprinter. And I remember Arsene Wenger saying at Arsenal, goals are not scored slowly. And Nathan brings explosiveness, and the team recognizes that and is starting to feed that, and it's paying off.
And now some build-up for San Antonio. Marcus Epps looking in Gallego's direction and defended well just outside the box. A giveaway, however, the second giveaway here in the opening minutes of this one by El Paso. This one doesn't burn him, however. The 6 goals for San Antonio in their last 2 matches give them now 19 for the season, tied for 14th in the championship. They're +4 in goal differential, which is 3rd overall in the table, despite the fact that they sit 6th tonight below the playoff line. And again, 7 points separating the top 6 teams in the division. Only 4 make the playoffs as we're coming on to the halfway point here of the regular season. Ketterer will take this one easily.
Well, you know, we're not at the halfway mark, so there's still so many more games to play. But I will say, tonight's game against the top team in your region, and you're going to have to play them in a couple of weeks again. And you look at the next 4 games after this are all against top opponents, and 4 games on the road. So this is it's like Murderer's Row coming up. You got to take care of business tonight.
And starting a stretch of 4 matches in 12 days, Coach, where they'll play 3 of those, as you pointed out, on the road. They'll go to Austin Saturday, and then it's off to El Paso, to Southwest University Park, which has been a tough place for the opposition since its inception. And then down once again to the Valley for the final meeting this season with RGV. And then to cap it off, although not included in that 12-day stretch, is a cross-country flight to New York to play New York Red Bulls 2 before you come back home in August.
Well, and you know, one of the things that we discuss as coaches working and managing our players' legs is we've had a very calm, cool type of start to the summer here in San Antonio. But we are starting to feel that blazing Texas heat. And these other locations down in Rio Grande Valley and Austin and El Paso, I mean, we're not leaving the heat for a while. And how the players hold up to that, how they're managed to make sure they get some rotation to keep them fresh is going to be very important in how they play those games.
That'll be interesting for El Paso tonight, which did play on Saturday on the road in New Mexico, played to a 0-0 draw at Isotopes Park. Played very well on the road, 3 wins, just 1 defeat, and 2 draws. Salignac trying to poach that one inside the area, and Cardoni able to release it forward.
You know, and so much of this is about your player personnel, how you manage through a match and put your stamp on the match. You know, I have great admiration for El Paso's Richie Ryan. I've had to coach against him many times when he was with Miami FC. He is clearly one of the most experienced holding or defensive midfielders in the league that really is that anchor in there. And his experience in MLS, in NASL, USL, and back in the Irish League brings so much experience to that. And really, when you look at it, that is what PC, when he is healthy and on the park, has done for us, because we haven't lost a game when PC has been playing. And trying to get him healthy and back there so that we're at full force is very important.
The early poise by El Paso as they switch the play. Matt Bonner. He plays it off Gallegos for a second quarter.
You know, and some of the other experienced players, I've seen Jerome so many years, played in Jacksonville, Haiti national team, really just a stud at center back. And Yuma, who came from Rayo Vallecano in Spain, came over to Rayo OKC in the NASL and has stayed in the United States, brings such vast experience at the two center backs. And when you have Richie Ryan sitting in front of that, it's hard to break down. They read the dangerous runs and they pick them up and deal with it.
I know my 6'8" friend is watching at home back in New Hampshire. It's actually Matt Boehner, I believe, who played at FC Cincinnati, who's in his second season. He probably had a hand up here early. San Antonio FC get assessed a foul inside the box here?
Yeah,
they did call a handball.
Yeah, we need to see a replay on this. Happened very quickly.
Did happen quickly as it came right through inside the area.
Looks like his left forearm, as the ball came spinning down in front of his chest, it rolled off his forearm there. And that's a penalty. The plane steps in, comes off his forehead, just spinning, and kind of rolls off his arm.
Well, so an early test for Matt Cardone as San Antonio FC concedes their second penalty of the season here. Kind of caught everyone a little bit by surprise, including us upstairs. And it'll be the former SAFC striker, Luis Solignac, who will look to give the visitors the lead. Stutter step, and Solignac puts it away, and El Paso Locomotive has the 1-0 lead. Oh, held on. And are they waving it off because he didn't complete his... Did he not complete his run?
It seems like his movement, an attempt to fake Cardone, that he stopped, and it's supposed to be a fluid motion. You can have some hesitancy, but you cannot stop. And he planted his leg, which stopped his forward movement, and then continued it on.
Let's throw it downstairs to Hayden Partain here. See if we get a little bit more idea of what's going on here. Hayden?
From what it looks like, I think one of the players proceeded into the box while Lucho was taking the PK. So I think they're going to do a redo PK.
Okay.
You know, a redo gets interesting because obviously Solignac has all of this history of every practice, every game with Cardone, and now he's shown his first shot.
Yeah, that's
the question of can Cardone reach into his past memories and pull something out here.
And if that's what they call a player kind of going into the box before he took the attempt, even that was really borderline too, just taking a look at it on the replay. So a couple of questionable sequences here early on. But again, it's Lucho Solignac who will step forward to the spot. Stutter step and puts it away for good this time. And El Paso in the 18th minute with the opening goal on the penalty. Lucho Solignac's fourth of the season. Locomotive leads 1-0.
This is becoming the summer of penalties. You look at all of the penalties in the Euro, penalty shootouts. Even last week when we were at Colorado, we're the beneficiary of 2 penalties. Now tonight, El Paso. It's just one of those elements you almost wish were not in the game, but rules is rules.
Well, he went right back to the same spot, Coach. I mean, he didn't change anything up.
No.
You kind of pointed out it's sometimes like playing rock, paper, scissors. You know, what are you going to throw from your opponent? And if you get a second try, going 2 out of 3, do you make the same move? Lucho stuck with it, comes away with a goal. Scored 8 of them last year for San Antonio FC after missing the entire 2019 campaign. Double hip surgery. And here's Sam Gleadle. A nice through ball in. Marcus Epps looking for a quick equalizer. Trying to cross it back, and Mishak Jerome defends it out. Will give San Antonio their first corner of the evening.
Yeah, and for keepers, it's such a, I mean, you can argue the point all the time. Do you guess? Do you read the body, the shoulder position, the hip position of the player as he approaches the ball as to where he's going to go with it? Or do you just rely on your plain old instincts and quickness and hope that he doesn't hit the perfect one and you get a chance to get some fingers on it?
So San Antonio gets their first corner of the match, and it's headed out of harm's way. And quickly pushing forward, Salignac, who scored the fastest goal in San Antonio FC history, tied for the fastest goal in USL Championship history, just 9 seconds into the match last summer against RGV. The other man who scored 9 seconds into a match, now with SAFC, Justin Dillon, who did it for Tacoma Defiance.
That's right.
A few years ago.
Quick off the mark. I wonder, with, you know, a full week preparation in the locker room, banging lockers, getting ready, pre-game talks, you know, let's engage from the opening whistle, and then you just let the guy walk through, and it's hard to believe that happens sometimes.
You see the early possession numbers, not a surprise considering the style of these clubs. El Paso leads USL 53% possession for the season, and San Antonio FC at the bottom at 42%, although their possession has really climbed over the last few weeks. You remember, you go back to even just the Austin game at the beginning of July, they were sitting at 38% for the season possession.
Right. I mean, you even look at last week, 367 passes was the second highest of the season. So I feel like their game is evolving in a very positive, progressive way, and creating, we've talked about mature attacks versus immature attacks. They're developing mature attacks, and it's because they're building off a foundation of better possession to build numbers around the box.
It is the 6th time this season, however, that they have conceded first, and they are winless, 0-3-2 in the previous 5 matches in which they concede the first goal. And unfortunately for SAFC, they're going against the best all-around defensive team in USL. Number 1 in terms of goals conceded, just 8 through their first 13 matches, or 12 matches, I should say, not including tonight.
Definitely the numbers don't work in their favor, but I remember a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about them going to Colorado, and that they had never won there, and we said eventually that will happen, and it did happen. So they have to look at a moment like this and not get caught up in the numbers, but look to continue to put their attacks together and equalize this game before halftime.
It's been a great July, back-to-back wins after the loss against Austin Bold. 6 goals here in the month. As you saw this one, now through to Logan Ketterer as it came back. Gallegos down to the corner of the box. We play on. And this will go off Mathieu Duplan, and a throw for El Paso. Well, our center referee, Malik Badawi, so far has not endeared himself to the Toyota Field crowd just yet. Joined tonight by Tyler Rostek and Ricardo Ocampo. Hector Hernandez is the 4th official of our crew this evening as Cam Lindley picks up the yellow here in the 23rd minute.
Yeah, it's always tough on a referee when you give an early penalty, and I think from the fan standpoint, maybe not a clear penalty that they instantly have to agree with. But a long match ahead, and he controlled the moment, utilizing the assistant referee and their angle, so the right call in the end.
That's Lindley's 6th caution of the season, Coach, so we're starting to come upon the point in the season now where you start to think about one-match suspensions when it comes to card accumulation, as Lindley would be 2 off that number 8 to receive an automatic 1-game suspension for card accumulation.
Well, and like I said, when you play this system, the 4-2-3-1, it's built on the back 4 plus 2 double pivots, 2 defensive midfielders sitting in front of it. that help give it stability. And Lindley's been a master at that role in there this season, and a great partner with PC when PC's in there. But I'm very impressed with what Abu is bringing new to the club, and it allows him to stay in that system. So when that suspension does take place for Lindley, you'll have Abu, and then it's a matter of hoping that PC is healthy, ready to step back in there.
Cam Lindley, who is third in all of USL, 31 chances created. But you mentioned Mohamed Abu, who gets the start in place of the injured PC tonight, wearing number 25. So was on trial during those two Mexican friendlies against Querétaro and Pumas, and signed later after a successful trial. Flipped his number around from 52 to 25. And the 29-year-old from Acregana, now a full-time member of San Antonio FC in his 12th professional season.
Dan, you were talking earlier about your impressions of why Nathan has suddenly come alive in relationship to the Mexican exhibition games. Why don't you share that thought?
Well, I just believe that in his case, it was a confidence booster, where for him, frankly, had just not seen the ball go in the back of the net, but being able to finish off a couple of successful runs and just seeing the ball go into the twine, I think just does a tremendous amount for one's confidence.
Right, because I know when we were doing the games, we would question, why are we doing these games? It stresses the players, potential injuries and all like that. But in a case like him, that justifies the games, because the next two matches in league play, he was on fire.
As Epps turns that header wide, and yeah, point taken, 4 goals in the last 2 matches for Nathan as he steps into this one here tonight. San Antonio FC Connor Maloney finding the head of Marcus Epps inside the box, but just turning that one wide. San Antonio, which, you know, they conceded 14 shots to New Mexico last Wednesday, but only 1 of them was on target. And they had 6 on target out of their 14 attempts too. So, you know, not only showing offensively, but cleaning it up on the back line as well too.
Yeah, very, very much so. And again, we've talked before about the analytics of trying to hit that 50% on target mark leads to multiple goals. And San Antonio's gotten better at that. More composure and more control of the game, more possession. It leads to, that translates into composure around the offensive box.
And they don't seem necessarily shaken going down 1 here, where earlier in July, when they went down 1 against Austin Bold and staring at a 7th consecutive non-victory situation, body language was much different.
Well, in the early going of the season, every game had a different lineup, different combination, different system. I really feel that the last couple of games, and getting to use those Mexico games to work on things, that they have found their system, they have found their lineup, and the only reason to change the lineup at this point is if there's an injury, or if someone like Nathan goes very cold and they have to rotate that position. But I feel like they have found themselves at this point in the season, and that's very promising.
Axel Schubert taking out Josue Aaron Gomez in the 27th minute into the books. His first caution of the season. San Antonio FC now 42 cautions on the season. They're second in the USL in cautions, behind Red Bulls 2 as 47. Lido. Matt Cardoni. Diego Luna.
He's quick. Keeps that ball very tight to his feet, almost too tight, too long.
And Nathan trying to make this run, but Mishak Jerome was with him stride for stride. Ketterer lets it ride out, and it had a little bit of something there on Nathan as Nathan hit the deck.
Well, as Ketterer turns his body to shield the ball, obviously Nathan in pursuit is going to try and go through his body, and there's going to be contact.
A little smile from Alan Marcina.
You know something we don't know. That is a fun piece of coaching, is when you're with your players every day, you know little nuances in their personality, and I'm sure there's something behind that grin.
Lucho Solignac, the penalty in the 18th minute. A handball that was whistled against Mathieu Duplan, the second penalty that SAFC's conceded this season. 2 penalties for, both were in the same game in Colorado Springs a couple of Saturday afternoons ago. Josue Aaron Gomez, as this one gets lifted along, Aguinaga gets up, Solignac. Nick Ross and Richie Ryan. Mishak Jerome, who has represented his country 76 times at the international level, 4 goals. The 31-year-old center back. And it'll be a yellow here on Matt Boehner.
Let's see what they can build here. Chance to compose, get your breath, start to build it up, create a good chance.
Boehner, 31-year-old, who was part of those record-breaking FC Cincinnati clubs in USL before their promotion to Major League Soccer. This is his second year with El Paso. Again, one of 14 returnees for Mark Lowry's group from last year's club that lost in penalties 4-2 to Phoenix Rising in the West Final.
Well, Dan, you were saying how, you look at how he's kept this squad together is, falling a little bit short of what your expectations might have been last year. Doesn't mean you have to tear the roster apart. And in a league that already has loses its continuity, a lot of transiency, players jumping from club to club each year, is if you can get a group that you can keep a core of 9-10 players together.
Epps. And Boehner gets a piece of that one. It'll be San Antonio's second corner.
And now they have all the know-how from the year before, all the experience together. They've been in game situations and know how to handle that. That's going to pay off in being a more consistent approach. And, I really would encourage, for example, San Antonio next year, if they like this group, if they can have a good run at the end, is try to keep the good pieces and don't start over.
Well, to me, you're 14 matches into the season as Cuello hits this one through. Schubert came forward to head it over frame. Good idea there with Axel Schubert getting forward. But to your point, this group, which has dealt with so many injuries, and when you add in PC, Jasser Kamiri, and Santiago Patino missing tonight, that's 55 man games lost due to injury already for this club this year. They're, I feel like, only now starting to form an identity here in the last couple of weeks, whereas El Paso, that identity was already built at the start of training.
Right. Well, and we've also seen, I remember the very first year of Major League back in '96, how DC United got into playoffs with a 500 record.
Gallegos! And Ketterer is there on the near post.
And then DC hit stride and won the whole thing. So it's a matter of just pulling it together, getting those best players on the park. And, I recognize for the first time, I feel like they have their way to play. And so stick to it and get guys like PC healthy again. And know that you've got options like Patino who can come in with a streak of goals, maybe later in the season.
Well, after last week, 19-year-old Jose Gallegos probably now feels like he's playing at the level that he wants to. He scored his 4th career goal in San Antonio FC colors as Nathan hits the deck inside the area, but we play on as immediately Malik Badawi said, let's keep going. Nathan trying to draw the infraction for the second time, perhaps.
Yeah, he's been to acting school before and embellishing that, but the referee didn't even attempt to go for it. One of the things that I really admire about Gallegos' last game is even though the goal is great to have, but it's the assists, because we've seen in previous games his ability to beat players, hold the ball, draw 2 or 3 defenders, but not release the pass to the open man, and often loses possession because he gets stuck with it too long. But last week it was brilliant. He found the open guy each time. The way Nathan's running these channels, he's feeding that, and I think it's very exciting to see.
Gallegos now 7 assists in his San Antonio FC career after the 2 assists on Nathan's goals last week. But tonight, different challenge. The visitors ahead early. A good run here by Epps, edge of the box. Kept to the outside by Yuma. Nice find, Mohamed Abu. And Richie Ryan came back to get a piece of that one and turn it out. And another corner for San Antonio.
Well, and you know, the other thing is when you have a couple of weeks like Nathan has had, showing so dangerously. I mean, they've studied him. Jerome is marking him, who's one of the best defensive athletes in the league, one of the best defenders in the league. Yuma's playing right off of him, so if Nathan gets loose, he's reading that moment to pick him up. So the nights are not going to be easier for Nathan now that he's had that level of success. Work harder, work smarter.
Aguinaga and Maloney cross paths. Aguinaga spent the last 2 years in Phoenix and was part of that squad that disposed of El Paso in the West Final a year ago. He comes over to Locomotive after 3 goals in 38 appearances over 2 years with Phoenix Rising FC. A couple of the new faces on the club. Aiden Apodaca, who spent time in Reno last year. Remember, Reno folded at the conclusion of last season, so several of their players were looking for new homes in the offseason. But other than that, it's a lot of the same faces that we've seen in El Paso over the years. Dylan Maris, who's on the bench tonight, has been injured the last couple of games. Maka King, the successful right back, he's been dealing with a little bit of an injury, but he's available tonight. Cuello. As he returns to Sam Gleadle. And a throw for San Antonio. And then Andrew Fox has not played at all this season, has been dealing with an injury. He's also on the bench tonight, too, as he's spent his first 3 years with El Paso as well.
You know, they're a good organization. You know, Andrew Forrest is their general manager. And Andrew, when they had the San Antonio Scorpions here, was the assistant general manager of the Scorpions, and that led to an opportunity to take over his own club. And so he comes with a lot of pedigree and expertise, and he's really put the right coach in place, and they've put the right players in place. And they've been patient to stick with it, and that's paying off for them.
Lindley, the in-swinger on the corner. And headed out. 29 wins against 14 defeats and 20 draws, all time for El Paso. This is going to be a foul on Locomotive. It's going to set up a set piece and a yellow for the youngster, Diego Luna.
And that spot of the ball is going to be in a dangerous place. So great opportunity to get something on frame here.
They're trying to release forward after the clearance, and then just Luna a little bit too aggressive going after the ball.
Again, it's amazing. 17 years old playing in this league. I mean, we praise Gallegos being 19, but 17, that's young. But he's held his own. I've watched a few games this season where Yuna's been out there, and he's a quality, talented player. But like Gallegos, having to mature his game, release the ball at the right time. No need to foul in a situation like that. Just the little details.
Epps offside. Flag was up immediately. As it was a good idea, cheeky little ball through, but the flag immediately raised before Epps even got to the ball.
Yeah, give credit to the assistant referee that that flag was right on the mark. There was no hesitation.
And he was off.
I don't know what the defender was doing. He took a moment off there.
He was off too. You're right. So El Paso survives that one. As we come to the closing minutes of the opening half, San Antonio down 1.
I like the posture where San Antonio stepped up, not letting them play the ball in. They know that they're a great possession side, so force them to kick long, create the 50-50, and don't make it easy for them to play out of the back. Good pressure by Nathan.
Mishak, Jerome, Luna. Eder Borelli came over from Juarez and Liga MX. Like That went off Luna's hand, but we play on. Of course, Juarez just over the river from El Paso, and FC Juarez and El Paso Locomotive have set up a little bit of a sister relationship between the two clubs, trading players back and forth here.
Yeah, I don't know whether we'll see him tonight. He played and started the last game for them, but Herrera is from Juarez. And so that's great to see that they can bring players over and share that with the El Paso fans, which is a very Latin community, very much like San Antonio.
And Leandro Carrijo is another one of those players, spent some time in Juarez as well. He's on the bench tonight, striker up top. And again, it's almost a recovery day for El Paso here, playing a Wednesday game after a Saturday night game on the road in New Mexico. So we'll see how the minutes get distributed in the second half. For San Antonio, they're on the front end of that with a Saturday night game on the road in Austin.
Well, it's always how you finish the game, and again, both teams have good players that can come into the game off the bench and add something to the second half.
Here's Nathan as he cuts to the middle of the park. Can't penetrate the defense.
No, and that's where Nathan needs to be disciplined to say, my role is to make the penetrating runs, not to go back and collect the ball in the midfield and try to play make. So this is where Gallegos, Lindley, Cuello getting more involved. We've not really seen him with many touches on the ball. These are the guys that have got to build it and let Nathan stay focused on what he does best.
And El Paso getting back into their, I don't want to call it a shell, but that's kind of what it feels like at times as they move the ball around so proficiently.
Well, they're very organized, and I'll tell you, when you play that diamond midfield, it means that you have the numerical advantage in the center of the park, and it makes it very difficult.
Zeleniak run over the top, chips it over Cardoni and over goal. But that's set up beautifully there from the middle once again.
Yeah, when you play the diamond, and if you're San Antonio, trying to play through the center of the park, it's very, very difficult. You have to learn to play in and back out or play around the diamond.
Nick Ross. The delivery over the top. Connor Maloney, Epps, onside this time. Watched by Yuma. Epps going to sneak it into Gallegos. Cuello fight through and brushed back out. And there'll be a foul on Mohamed Abu, and he will go into the books now.
Yeah, I wish the players, when they get in those tight situations, they either have to play out and reset the attack, or they have to look for a quick combination, a quick 1-2 pass that slips them in. Because when they just carry and dribble and they've got three players around, you're just not going to have success consistently getting through. So they just have to look for better options.
So Abu, Lindley, Schuberg all sitting on first half yellows for San Antonio. Boehner and Luna sitting on first half yellows for El Paso. Into the 43rd minute, 1-0, the visitors the lead. Penalty goal for the former SAFC striker, Lucho Zeleniak. That's a handball outside wide there on Josue Aaron Gomez.
I mean, generally, I feel that San Antonio's had the better part of this match. They've built up more opportunities around their box, and nothing very direct, but still, they put numbers forward, just like in this sequence here.
Epps gives it a go over goal. A little bit beyond where his range was, where he wanted to get forward, but at least trying to make the back line and perhaps the keeper work.
Right. Yeah, don't give the keeper the night off on a night like tonight. And El Paso's had their fair share of possession and building up, but once they've gotten within 30, they have not really put the final piece of the puzzle together as far as shots on goal, but they are a goal up. You know, it's just the way the match is falling right now.
Well, to your point, we showed possession 58-42 earlier in the half. It is really tightened as Gleadle, the opportunity, turns it wide off his left. And Boehner, who's down right in front of Mark Lowry and the El Paso bench, they need a little bit of attention.
think it's been a very good match, really, for both teams. I mean, as a visiting team, never easy to play on the road. But the thing I notice about El Paso, they're just so composed. They're calm. Whether they're defending or whether they're attacking, they're just very calm and composed and, you know, very organized so that nobody ever gets exposed without help. And like I said, some of that comes down to when you have two center backs like Jerome and Yuma and Richie Ryan, the most experienced player of the park, sitting right in front of that. It's a hard thing to break down.
7 shots for either side. 1 on target for San Antonio is the 1 for Gallegos, and the 2 on target for El Paso so far. Seliniak. And off Josue Aaron Gomez. It's Luna. Aguinaga lets it roll through. Gomez will track it down over at the far touchline. Back to Aguinaga. And stumbling and giving away there was Ross. Mishak Jerome.
Mishak so strong.
And Ross back on the counter. Luna getting loose. Luna deflected out there by Schubert.
He's quick. It's hard for defenders. You start trying to reach in and, you know, trying to avoid the trip. When you have a guy that quick in there, it's difficult to defend. You just have to stay on your feet and shadow him. Just stay and move with him. And if he tries to turn towards goal, then start to step in and don't give him the time to get the shot off.
A healthy 3 minutes of added time here at the end of the opening half. There you see the possession that we were mentioning before is really tightened up after El Paso built an early commanding lead in that department. Seliniak turning to Mishak Jerome, heading it along. Yuma, the Spaniard, to Eder Borelli. Seliniak, the giveaway. Calmly played by Mishak Jerome. Almost too calmly.
Well, I'll tell you, there were a number of years I tried to sign him because we recognized for years now how good a defender he is. And his strike of the ball, he can hit a shot from 40 yards out. He may not in a game like this because that's not his role to advance that far, but tremendous power and accuracy.
Leanne Court Haiti, 5 goals in his league career, 4 goals at the international level. Mentioned 76 caps for the Haitian national team. Good run again here by Epps, looking for Nathan. And another great chance for Nathan, almost identical to what they pulled off last Wednesday against New Mexico, except it was Gallegos who had the delivery on that attempt.
Look at that, so close. Right position, right run. Beautiful service from Epps. But I'll tell you, sometimes things happen just before halftime that create a light bulb. I'm looking at the last couple of times Epps has made runs down the right side of the field, and he athletically has been dominant over there, and that's one of those things you hope that the coaches talk about at halftime. Let's start on the left, swing it to the right, give Epps some room to run at that defender, because he's getting penetration, and that can lead to the same kind of service we just saw.
Here's Sam Gladel. Gallegos. Cuello. Ketterer gets a piece of that. Cuello putting it back towards the front inside the area and cleared out. Luna quickly moving forward. Nick Ross stutters. Holds back, waits for support. And it comes in the form of Aguinaga, and that's how the opening half ends. But without a little bit of a punch from San Antonio FC at the tail end of that half as they started to take a little bit more command of the match. And they should go into the locker room feeling some positive momentum despite down 1-0 off the goal from their former striker, Lucho Seliniak, who converts the penalty in the 18th minute following the handball inside the box. But it was San Antonio FC that ended up with the better of the chances as the half progressed along. 1-0, El Paso Locomotive with the advantage over San Antonio FC. Halftime here on Bally. Halftime from Toyota Field. San Antonio FC trailing El Paso Locomotive 1-0. With Joe Soliniak's fourth goal of the season in the 18th minute, the only tally so far. Time for another edition of Overrated, Underrated with San Antonio FC.
Overrated.
Oh, way overrated.
Yeah, no comment.
Underrated.
Pains me because Mayweather's the greatest of all time.
I thought he was gonna get knocked out first round. He did well.
Underrated. My favorite treat since I was a kid.
Underrated.
I eat it all, man. Dairy Queen. Anything from Dairy Queen.
Underrated.
Underrated. Love those healthy stuff.
Underrated. Big time. I get one of those almost every day. I like them a lot. Big fan. Tubing.
Underrated.
Overrated.
Tubing's underrated. I love tubing at the cottage.
Overrated. I think because I've never really done that. So.
That's a weird one. Overrated.
Sneezing? Like.
Overrated.
Underrated.
No need to sneeze. Hold them in.
I think it's overrated.
Underrated. Helps a lot.
Oh, way underrated.
Start my alarm earlier than I need it, so I snooze and get that extra sleep.
I'm a morning person, but after an away game, it's tough to get up.
Underrated. They're useful.
Underrated. I think I listen to a lot of podcasts. So.
Underrated. Yeah, I'm into podcasts.
I like Joe Rogan. I like Real Ferdinand was on the podcast. I forgot what it was called, but I'm a big fan of their podcast too. Underrated. That's all I use.
What's icy hot?
Overrated. Yeah, icy hot.
We'll take a look at halftime stats with highlights from the opening 45. And we return to the other side. 1-0, Locomotive the lead here on Bally Sports.
How hard can you go? How hard can you go? How hard can you go? How hard can you go?
Halftime from Toyota Field, San Antonio FC and El Paso Locomotive FC. First meeting between the two sides this year, and the visitors with a 1-0 lead here after 45 minutes. As we welcome you back upstairs to the broadcast booth, along with the coach Tim Hankinson, I'm Dan Weiss. Thanks for joining us this evening. Coach, I know you look at the score, you see down 1 after 45. You're at home coming off of 2 really impressive performances. You might be thinking, well, it's not so good for San Antonio FC, but in fact, I think that was actually a pretty well-played half by the home side.
I think it was outstanding. I mean, we've been very critical of the team, not playing possession, so low a number of passes. The possession and the number of passes made are almost exactly identical with El Paso. So that means you're playing at that first-place team level, and really great presence by the San Antonio side.
So you saw the handball by Mathieu Duplan. That led to the penalty, and they had to do it again because an El Paso player came into the box before Solignac let it go, but he goes right back to the same spot, puts it away for his 4th of the season against his former club. But really after that, it was all San Antonio in terms of the chances.
It was. You know, this comes down to the details. We get 9 shots, but only 1 on target. We get 9 crosses, but only 2 in the accurate area. We just have to have a higher percentage to make those chances count more, because that's what's going to lead to the tying goal and the winning goal by the end of the night.
Well, that was right before halftime. Nathan had a chance to put it away. Instead, puts it over goal. There's your look at your numbers, and for me, I think possession, when we know San Antonio historically has been a low possession team, and they've really held their own against the best possession team in the league tonight.
They have, and the possession, again, we've said that the San Antonio team is evolving. This is a team that is progressing forward in the attack, and they're doing that by taking more advantage of playing a possession game that leads to more players in and around the box to create better chances, and that's going to lead to goals as the night goes on, as the season goes on.
If you're Alan Marcina here, and you're thinking about, you got another match coming up on Saturday, but how long do you let this current group go in the second half to try to find that equalizing goal?
You know, it's different if you're above the playoff line.
Yeah.
But when you're not above the playoff line, and this is the top team in the league, I think you play your starters as long as you have to, and you'll make adjustments going into the away game on the weekend.
Fair enough. We'll take a look at what's going on around the rest of the Mountain Division when we come up on the other side, as the fans enjoy this one. Our halftime rolls along with San Antonio FC trailing 1-0 to El Paso Locomotive. This is the first match of the week in the Mountain Division, a table separated with just 7 points between the top 6 clubs, and this is what's going on around the rest of the division this weekend. El Paso will play at Real Monarchs SLC Saturday night. New Mexico United on the road in Tacoma take on Defiance, and Grand Valley will play on the road at Phoenix Rising FC. Also, course, San Antonio FC and Austin Bold FC Saturday night as well. That is our next match, and it's also our next telecast here on Bally Sports coming up Saturday night at 8 o'clock, and that's what the coach was talking about. Next 4 on the road, and including tonight, 4 matches over 12 days, and then to cap it off, a cross-country trip to go see New York Red Bulls 2 on the 14th of August before coming back home to take on Real Monarchs on the 21st. So busy times for San Antonio FC to try to come away with a result here in the second half. 1-0 Locomotive in the lead. Second half coming up on the other side. Antonio FC Soccer on Bally Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Go to buyatoyota.com or visit your local Toyota dealer today. Start of the second half from Toyota Field. And before we get underway, let's send it down to the third member of our team on the field, Hayden Partain.
SAFC finished the first half great, so we're looking for them to start the second half just where they left off. We're looking for Jose Gallegos in particular to get after Boehner. He's got a yellow card. He can't defend as aggressively as he probably wanted. But Epps needs to continue to get success and cross the ball in, and the front runners have got to finish the next chance.
Thanks a lot, Hayden. Really all good points there, and I think all things that SAFC probably were focused on going into this match. And, you know, as Alan Marcina has oftentimes said, it's, you know, the things that we do, but how we execute them at the end of the night that tends to show our result one way or the other.
It is all about execution. You can have a bad night, but if you execute those few opportunities, the points come your way. I think one of the things that I want to look at in this second half is you look at the matchups with Nathan. Again, most of the time right now he's up against Yuma, who is not as good an athlete, not as pacey as Nathan is. Most of the time he's been basically wrestled by Jerome, who is as good or better an athlete. And this may be something as the game goes on, as much as you don't want to change, you know, your system too much. You know, bringing someone like Dylan into the game, who is a big body, a big target player to go up against Jerome, to occupy him, which would leave Nathan in a one-on-one situation against a player like Yuma, who's maybe not quite as athletically geared. I just think it might be something to look at, you know, with 25 minutes to go.
Dylan is the lone striker that's on the bench tonight. It is good to see Ollie Wright back on the bench tonight, Coach. He's missed the last couple of games dealing with an injury, so wasn't part of the action in either match against New Mexico or Colorado Springs. But remember, him and Dylan had found a chemistry during that 7-match winless streak as Luna comes into the box, and a giveaway inside by Lucho Soliniak allows San Antonio FC to get forward.
Yeah, and a move like that to bring Dylan and a player like Wright, and Wright usually goes in on the left midfield side and is very quick and dynamic, very explosive to make things happen from the left side. And you've got Epps identified as he can make things happen and get penetration on the right side, I think. And if you have two strikers in there with Gallegos playing underneath them, maybe makes for a different look for us and catches El Paso not quite ready to make those adjustments.
There's an opportunity. Borelli sends it through. Schuberg will head it out. Aguinaga stays with it, looking to that back post, but sends it well over goal. Jose Aguinaga, 68 matches in USL play. Mentioned last couple of seasons playing in Phoenix. Originally was drafted by New York Red Bulls. He's a former teammate of Chris Lemma. They spent time together with New York Red Bulls too.
Yeah, and if you look at the sideline, players warming up. El Paso's got 3 guys up. I see it, Dylan Mayers. Dylan very easily could come in for the young player Yuma. He's got such great experience for Indy 11 and Miami FC, former Indiana and University of Louisville product. He played for me, and I know what he can do. He can win games for you.
Last year, he's one of the best playmakers in all of USL. Hasn't had as much luck this season, even though he's got 2 goals and a couple of assists, but has not been necessarily involved in the number of chances created that we're used to seeing from a guy like Dylan Maris.
Well, and down on the San Antonio end, you've got 3-4 players starting to warm up. I see Dylan's one of them. So it'll be interesting in the next 15 minutes whether we see a change.
Nathan run off the ball to be a foul.
Again, this is where I'd like to see Nathan's approach to the game. Win a ball in the midfield, helping your midfielders out. That's A+ work. But then release to your midfielders and push back into higher quarters where you can be more dangerous getting to goal. Be the receiver of a pass rather than making the pass.
I've mentioned this a few times on our broadcast this season, but one of the more puzzling elements of SAFC's season is this opening 15 minutes coming out of the locker room where they, for all the goals they've scored, 19 of them, in fact, they have yet to find the back of the net in this opening quarter hour coming out of the halftime locker room. Will this be the night they change it? Cuello flips it to himself and then gets met by Yuma and then immediately held. El Paso gives it away.
That's an interesting stat. You know, there's so many different cultures in a locker room at halftime. Some are loud and sometimes even confusing, and some are too quiet, and a coach worries, are we ready to go back out? Obviously, we're missing something in the element to come out of the locker room with a sense of explosiveness and readiness to go get a goal.
And on the flip side, they've conceded 4 times in this spot in the match. So it's not just one on one side of the ball, it's on both sides of the ball.
Well, I think the job of the coach at halftime, you may have 15 minutes, but players might only listen for 3. You know, so you have to be patient, use the first 10 minutes of the halftime to let players rehydrate, let the medics check to make sure everyone's okay, go around and encourage some guys, maybe some individual conversations, and then have the team talk so that when your team talk is finished, that's the cue to go out and explode again.
Well, they've certainly made up for it in terms of coming back and leveling matches late. 4 goals scored in the final quarter hour, 3 of which have come back to either level or win a match. Nathan, good combination there playing with Cuello. Returning to Nathan, he gets loose, but just too heavy at the last moment as Ketterer is able to beat him to the ball.
But, you know, before we've seen Nathan and other players like Gallegos try to dribble through all of that. It was great to see a 1-2 pass, another 1-2 pass, and that's what freed him up to actually get very close to a goal opportunity.
It was an opportunity where he's able to slip through that left side of the El Paso back line. Get an opportunity, and now a free kick opportunity for San Antonio FC. So give the home side credit here. They have not backed down despite going down 1 early, and certainly haven't backed down from as organized and disciplined as a team as El Paso Locomotive. They've had their chances tonight to get on the board here.
Well, you know, we talked about it before, how mature and experienced El Paso is. I almost feel like they're saying, look, we've got the lead. Let's just sit in, defend well. We'll keep the ball. San Antonio is going to have to keep pushing players up and pushing players and take more risk, and the door will open. And that's what we always have to make sure we don't overextend players upfield and are ready for that kind of a counterattack.
Cuello chips it into the box, and Nathan was the target, and it was just a little bit elevated over him. That's
good. We got to the header first. Just We're unlucky it didn't fall at our feet.
The whistle on Connor Maloney. Connor Maloney, who missed all of training and again missed the first 11 matches of the regular season, dealing with lower body injury that he suffered, in fact, in the offseason in preparation for the 2021 campaign. And he was about as blue collar as they came last year, Coach. I mean, didn't do anything flashy, just kind of, put on the hard hat, took his lunch pail, went to work every single day, and gave you 90 minutes just about every night.
Yeah, nobody had a more determined engine and motor to work up and down that sideline than him. It's just an element of the game. When you have a couple of players like that, it makes it so much easier for teammates.
And especially last year when SAFC so many times, as Josue Aaron Gomez got loose and will earn a corner here, so many times when San Antonio FC was playing three in the back, and Maloney and Blake Smith was the opposite guy, those two wide guys who had to come back and forth up the touchline so much, so demanding, so much running. Boy, man, Connor Maloney really earned his stripes last year.
Yeah, not everyone can do that. Most of the time, players can only cover maybe a 40-yard length of the field. And you're either covering it more defensively, that 40-yard stretch, or more offensively, and then players have to learn to shift and cover because you can't get back to do it. But he's a flag-to-flag guy. That's rare.
Ryan finding the feet of Lucho Saliniaco. Nice handoff. And a good ball through. Josue Aaron Gomez tried to weave it around Sam Gleadle. Gleadle stood with the play. And a throw coming up here once again for Locomotive.
First time we've seen El Paso with build some rhythm, some ideas, some combinations that start to break down the defense and put them in the box. So we've got to make sure that we make a stop here and then regain the possession game that we had going.
Goal for them, just their 17th of the season, so they haven't been an offensive powerhouse, even though they have some names, of course, that can give you goals like Lucho Saliniac, Dylan Maris, Sebastian Velasquez, the longtime Real Salt Lake player. He returns to El Paso for a second stint, but they've been built on what they've done on their side of the park.
Well, we all know Solniak. Let's watch.
Luna off the defender.
And Solniak can get a goal. I mean, he is a goal scorer. So that comes down to if they're not scoring enough, then they're not getting service enough to create the opportunities either for him or for other players. And I think this is somewhat the difference. If you have a guy like Dylan Mares in there who can get a goal and create a goal over, let's say, a young player like Yuma who's just kind of getting his feet wet. And he's done well tonight. He's a very talented young player. But I think they're missing that experienced element of how to set up a goal. And then the rest of the time, they just sit there in their own half, playing their back four, diamond in the middle. Very difficult for teams to play through the center. So you've got to find penetration down the flank.
Some penetration here for Gallegos. Epps, first touch. Gleadle, corner of the box. Quayle, he's got a little bit of daylight. Jerome meets him. And that should be off of Quayle. It is. It'll be a goal kick awarded to Logan Ketterer.
And a lot of this, as far as breaking El Paso down, when we're playing a back four, we can extend our wing backs into the attack. And on the switch of play, bypassing that diamond in the center, knowing they've only got a wing back down there at the wide side, is being able to push your wing back up, overlapping, play 2 against 1, create the numerical advantage, and get direct penetration to put yourself in a position to get that crossing. And it just seems like we're not looking at it that way all the time. We've gotten some good penetration in the wide areas, but we should be getting it consistently just about every time we gain possession. Get out of the middle, get it wide. That's where your advantage is, system against system.
Well, the encouraging thing, Coach, is that even though it's a short turnaround playing Austin on Saturday, they'll see a system that's almost identical to what they're playing tonight in El Paso. A little bit, of course, wrinkles that Marcelo Serrano will throw at you that's different than what Mark Lowry does. Marcelo doesn't play that diamond in the middle, but from a organizational standpoint, from a strictly deliberation standpoint in terms of possession and how you move the ball and how you build. Austin is built very much like El Paso.
Right. I think the one element that's different between El Paso and Austin that we'll be seeing on Saturday is pace. If you look at the wide areas where you have Omar Gordon, the Jamaican, on the right, and you have Diouf on the left, and then you have Patino up top. I mean, they're quite dynamic, the foursome that can attack for them. So, and that's something you don't see as much with the El Paso team. We've not really had to match up against pace against them.
San Antonio able to get out of a giveaway situation. Richie Ryan will go into the books here. A professional foul in the middle of the park in the 59th minute. His third yellow of the season.
He knows how to do that. He can read danger. I've seen this before where danger comes running down the field and no one reacts to it. A guy like Richie sees that and he nips it right then and there and gives him a free kick 40 yards, 50 yards away from the goal rather than, 20 yards away from the goal.
36 years of age in his 19th pro season. Native of Ireland, he has played in over 350 professional matches. This is his 58th appearance all time with El Paso.
Yeah, great ball player.
Lindley lifts into the box. Schubert able to get up and get under it, but doesn't get enough on it to get it past or around Logan Ketterer.
Well, and Richie's got some very impressive ink he wears, too. He's a very tattooed type of guy and very impressive display of art.
Cuello thought he had it at his feet, and turning back around and dispossessing him of it was Eder Borelli, and then that's a hard challenge there from Josue Aaron Gomez. Mohamed Abu's going to reset quickly here. Gallegos overlapping is Gleadle on his left side. Nick Ross has played Jose Gallegos well tonight. Gallegos will get it back. Going to cut it back through three. That's more of what we saw the first couple of months of the season out of Jose.
Yeah, he's got to recognize I've drawn three players. My job is done. Now I have to service and find a teammate.
Good counter here for El Paso. Borelli off the left touchline. Salignac. Aguinaga. And as they get numbers back behind the ball with San Antonio, they'll reset. Jerome switching the play. Boehner. And learn a throw for Locomotive. 1 hour into this one. El Paso up 1-0 in the first of 4 matchups this season. First of 2 we'll see here in the next week, as we'll get our first substitutes for both ends tonight, and both coaches thinking about the rest of the week. Chapa Herrera and Sebastian Velasquez will come on for El Paso, and it'll be Justin Dillon who will come on. He'll take out Emil Cuello here in the 61st minute.
Yeah, this is the substitution I wanted to see, not necessarily for Cuello. Cuello has been very quiet, but it's more if you look right now across the field, you see our number 7, Nathan, standing right with Jerome. And that's not a good matchup for us. Jerome is too athletic and too physical. But if we can get Dillon matched up with Jerome to free up Nathan to attack Yuma, I think those are the kind of matchups that can make a difference.
Aguinaga is off. Him and Chapa Herrera play the exact same position, so Aguinaga gets the 60 minutes here. You'd figure Chapa will get the 60 minutes on Saturday. Aguinaga will take the 30 minutes. And the other substitute, they're going to use it in the same window. They have that option. Again, 3 substitute windows, and here it is. Sebastian Velasquez, the veteran 30-year-old who will come on for Josue Aaron Gomez, who's leaving over by the stick.
Yeah, and Velasquez is a second forward. He spends a lot of time checking back for the ball, looking to have a ball played to his feet, supporting the midfield. Not necessarily a great penetrating player, but a very good supportive player that only will lead to more possession for El Paso.
His second stint with Locomotive, 5 goals in 20 matches, as part of their inaugural 2019 campaign. Remember when he played for Real Monarchs SLC, he was one of the most dangerous players in USL in both the 2016 and 2017 campaigns. In fact, 25 goals in his 76 matches in USL play.
That's good. 1 every 3 games. That's a great average.
He's on for Josue Aaron Gomez after the hour mark. And again on the other side, it's Justin Dillon. Comes on for San Antonio FC, taking out Emil Cuello. So you get Dillon up top now with Nathan and Gallegos. And here's Gallegos with the ball at his feet. Got some penetration. The ball came free. And then it was dispossessed there away from Nathan to the last moment. And Nathan will get whistled for the foul here.
Yeah, Richie Ryan getting stuck in there to make sure that it just disrupted the play. Still leaves a loose ball, but El Paso was smart to be able to surround it and deal with it. And I was also glad to see when the ball went back to keeper. I mean, the mentality for San Antonio right now is clearly press. I mean, the clock is ticking. Down a goal, you can't sit back and defend. You have to be aggressive and take the risk.
There's some good risk there. That one rides through. Maloney let it go through, but there was no checkered kit on the end of it. Cam Lindley flips it in. Dillon, offside position. He turned it wide anyway.
Again, this is where I hope their plan is to match up 2 against 2 against Jerome and Yuma. Pushing Dillon higher, playing the physical game against those 2. Don't give them the freedom to not have to mark.
Locomotive looking for their 7th clean sheet of the season, which would be the most in all of USL play. Sitting tied with Austin Bold. Coming into tonight, 6 so far.
You have to give credit to the discipline and the understanding of El Paso, because every single time a ball is played near their box, there aren't just 2 players around it. There are 4 or 5 players around it. They smother the ball in the opportunity.
Luna. Velasquez. Errant ball back. No harm, however, as Yuma's going to let it ride out. Logan Ketterer. Tonight making his 60th appearance with Locomotive, most of any El Paso player. Gallegos
release. Look for an opportunity to release.
Stops. The trailer was Lindley. Yuma met him. Good challenge. Now the counter. Luna. Stutter steps. Gets around Maloney. He's got a runner in Velasquez. Well, Velasquez didn't take it well.
I think Maloney's got a problem. It looked like he was limping on that recovery run. Could just be a cramp, but I don't want to see him get hurt again. It's hard coming back, not knowing. I mean, we use all the science in the world. We have all kind of gadgets and heart monitors and things. That when a player gets back, we've done pre-testing, wanting to make sure that they get within 80% of their maximum strength for that muscle group. And sometimes players will say, well, but I'm ready, or the team needs you, and you go in when you're only 70%, and all of a sudden re-injury. I'm not saying that's the case here, but it's quite a science and helps protect the players. Let's just hope it's a cramp and he gets back in there.
Let's take a look at Copa Tejas here in 2021. San Antonio FC begins the night the lone team in Copa Tejas without a victory. You see 2 defeats, 2 draws. They have 4 Copa Tejas matches on tap, including this one tonight. RGV, 10 points leading the way, but there you see the max points on the other side, and El Paso Locomotive, who's played the fewest, has the opportunity to handily win Copa Tejas if they can continue to take care of their business. That's what they're doing here right now with a 1-0 lead over San Antonio FC as Connor Maloney is able to walk it off and come back on momentarily.
I've never understood how teams get so many games in hand. You have one team that's played 8 and the other team's played 3. Is what happens with the schedulers, I mean, this used to be a big problem when we were renting American football stadiums, you know, when we had conflicting dates. And, they had priority, but you've got so many soccer-specific stadiums like RGV and Toyota Field here that the schedule should stay more balanced. Game difference, but in general, more balanced.
El Paso's played the fewest games in the division. That's great to have when you're the division leader. Just their 13th match of the season here tonight.
Well, like I said before, they're in the driver's seat right now.
Over the top, looking for Salignac, headed out by Sam Gleadle. Will set up the fourth corner of the evening for Locomotive.
Seeing even El Paso on the corner, you can see how conservative they are. Only 4 guys in the box. Everyone else is sitting back, making sure no chance of a counterattack off the corner.
Richie Ryan, free header! Great save by Matt Cardone. Velasquez trying to turn it back, and it's cleared out of harm's way. Locomotive still on the attack momentarily before it's cleared forward.
I'll tell you, if you're a young player and you want to see what is correct technique in a jumping header, you watch that over and over. That was perfect.
And another great play by Schubert. That ball was headed back for the feet of Diego Luna, who's behind the pack.
You'll watch it here. With the height, the snap.
That was Eder Borelli who got on the end of that one. And Matt Cardone keeps San Antonio FC alive with his best stop of the night. Kind of lulled you to sleep a little bit there, Coach. I mean, you know, you say for a moment, well, they're playing conservative, and then they find an open header in the box for a great scoring opportunity, and not done here. Luna!
Yeah, at times I feel that El Paso just sits and waits and is trying to lull you to sleep, like they're not interested in attacking or they're not dangerous anymore. And then all of a sudden they come alive. They sniff that one true opportunity and go after it.
Saw Luna's attempt just missing the woodwork.
You can see the pressure now from Dylan. We have to be more aggressive to attack that clearance, because that pressure creates a 50-50 ball, but if you're not going to challenge for the 50-50 ball, they just regain possession further up the field, and now that counterattack is against us.
Velasquez, edge of the box. Sebastian Velasquez gives it a go, lands in the feet of Luna. Luna puts it in! Locomotive extends the lead to 2. It's the 17-year-old Diego Luna who finds the upper corner, and it's 2-0 to the visitors from El Paso.
That's just pure persistency. And when that ball comes across to Luna, again, we have a tendency to stare it down and freeze it. And instead of stepping to and making the body big and throwing the leg in front to block, we had too much time to get that off.
Here's the persistence there from Velasquez. And a beautiful touch from the youngster.
Yeah, we took one step towards him. One step towards, and then we stopped. And that gave him a chance to find that little angle at the net. Have to be more aggressive. It's not a fouling situation, it's just a step up, body tackle, block shot, and we're out of there. And instead, we're 2-0 down.
So Locomotive in the driver's seat here at Toyota Field. This AFC is going to need really a quick equalizer, or a quick score rather, if they have thoughts of the equalizer. Gleadle's got some daylight, as that one just rides harmlessly through the area.
It is amazing that when you're at home, your home fans, and you're 2-0 down, if you can get that first goal, that the game changes. And now the opposing team is almost in panic mode, trying to hold on. The fans are behind you. Your guys are energized. Fantastic finish in games like that. We just need that first one.
They say that the 2-0 lead, it's the hardest lead to hold, right, Coach?
It is. It is. But I don't mind holding it.
There's another counter build-up for Locomotive Borelli. They wait for support. And for El Paso, I was just about to say, what's great about them is that when you're as disciplined as they are, as organized as they are, they don't make a lot of mistakes in these situations up 2 goals, even though they make a mistake right there.
Yeah, there are teams, and not every team can achieve this, but there are teams that reach a level of maturity and understanding of game moments and situations where they just don't shoot themselves in the foot. And they may not play great or dynamically on a given night, but they're just going to be there, and they're waiting for you to make that one mistake to beat yourself or something they can take advantage of. And I just feel like El Paso is that kind of a team this year, that they're just going to hang around and be in a position to win all night.
Ollie Wright, Chris Lemma will both come on here. Connor Maloney's night is done. Lindley into the box, headed on. San Antonio has one back. Justin Dillon. Or was it Schuberg? It was Schuberg, I believe, who got on the end of it, puts it away. And San Antonio FC has some life.
I'll tell you, I've been saying all season, at 6'7", when are you going to finally get on the end of one? And he did right there. Outstanding header.
Schuberg delivers his first with SAFC. Just snuck in behind Dillon there.
And just as we were saying, this could be a very exciting final 20 minutes that could go either way. And we're seeing Dylan Mares now enter the game, who is a playmaker, game-type winning player. And we'll see what effect he has on the match.
A perfect header delivered on by Axel Schuberg. Gets his 4th career goal. His first 3 coming in Major League Soccer. And a huge goal in the 74th minute to give SAFC some life. And Schuberg runs off Dylan Maris, who's going for the ball there.
So these next few minutes will be crucial for El Paso because, you know, the tactics, if you're still a goal down for San Antonio, is continue to press and push forward. And we have to risk a little bit less defending at the back in order to get the equalizer. But for El Paso, it's a question of, do we sit on this lead, or are we going to keep going and keep the pressure on them in the attack?
Well, Velasquez was attacking there, but he couldn't find a runner on the other end. And here's Jose Gallegos coming back the other way, and just a little bit too heavy. We're going to call the foul, though, that came all the way back. They were playing for a moment, playing the advantage for San Antonio FC, and now the foul called on Gallegos, so the ball back to Locomotive.
That's a shame. But there again, you know, I admire his instinct to want to take players on. But he's got to learn how to take care of the ball better so that we don't lose our opportunity to get players forward into the attack.
Here's a look at San Antonio FC. They've been in this position before, needing one to equalize, and have scored 4 times in the final quarter hour. Almost added to that with Schuberg's goal. That came at the 74th minute. But again, it was Luna's goal just moments before. That's the difference right now. Luna's goal scored in the 71st minute has the visitors ahead 2-1.
Yeah, we got to take better care of the ball now. Giving balls like that away when you need a goal.
Question is, you know, San Antonio FC not as much success in the run of play, coach, in the second half as they had in the first half. So it might be another set piece situation where they're going to need to find that equalizer.
I think the difference is in the first half we were patient to get possession first and build into the attack. It seems like right now, being a goal down or 2 goals down a few minutes ago, is that we weren't patient to build again, and now it's rush, got to get it now, and you don't really create great chances that way. So we just have to keep composure, and it's a question of, would you rather have 6 average chances because you rushed it forward, or would you rather be patient and create 3 great chances? And that's a philosophical decision that coaches have to influence a team with. I happen to be one that says, work for the three great ones. Don't worry about half chances and rushing and taking 3 players on.
Well, you can certainly see the urgency has picked up considerably here, but to your point, can they find it within themselves in this urgency? And it's a frenetic style that they've been accustomed to playing all season, so no doubt it certainly works. Well, will it work here against Locomotive? They get an opportunity, though, on a set piece as Gallegos is fouled. Still a lot of time left. More than 10 minutes plus whatever added time here at the end of the half as SAFC looks for the equalizer. Schubert trying to get up, and Dillon was there this time. And Ketterer comes away with it.
Yeah, at least we're creating great service off those free kicks, finding our big target man. And, you know, it's one of those that maybe the next time don't go directly to goal with the header, flick it on and catch someone on the back post. But at least we're playing accurate balls in, giving us a chance at it.
The goal by Axel Schubert was SAFC's 4th goal off set pieces this season. But they still need 1 here to earn a result.
Good pressure by San Antonio.
Yuma lets it roll to Borelli. Boehner.
This is where in our system, 4-2-3-1, we really don't have someone to get to Richie Ryan. So as our strikers put pressure, as our wingers put pressure, there's no one sitting on him. And so he's the guy they can play to that with composure is going to make the next pass and relax the team and build their next opportunity forward.
Maris, daylight. Maris! Punched away there by Cardoni. Maris making the keeper work there.
As we said, Dillon knows how to win a game, how to create a goal, how to get a goal.
Velasquez. Yuma. Good turn by Velasquez.
Oh, a great turn. That's right. So many defenders play.
Rewarded back with Maris, top of the box. Dylan Maris releasing, punched again away by Matt Cardoni, and a clearance for SAFC. Ollie Wright, too heavy trying to settle, gave it away to Velasquez.
I was saying that a lot of times a defender plays a ball to a midfielder and the midfielder plays it right back, so you go from back to midfield to back. With Velasquez and midfielders like that, you play to them and they turn. So it goes from back to midfield to forward, advancing the play. You need midfielders that are that technically comfortable and that want the ball.
Into the final 10 minutes, SAFC down a goal. Getting a little life with Axel Schubert's first of the season on a header set up by Cam Lindley in the 74th minute, just minutes after Diego Luna doubled El Paso's lead. Ross ahead, Maris turning upfield, Velasquez as he runs on Schubert. Playing it to the back post. He's looking in Lucho Solignac's direction. Lema heads that one over touch and a throw coming up.
It's a great defensive header by Lema, not heading it back to the top of the box, but flicking it on in a non-dangerous position. Young players take note, that's how it's done.
El Paso will milk a little clock here. Gallegos to Abu to Nathan.
Now open the game up. There you go.
Gleedle, plenty of daylight here. Ollie Wright tried to one-touch return to Gleedle. Now look out here because this whole left side of the field is open. A little good recovery by Ollie Wright.
Yeah, that's where players have to learn how to cover for each other and where to recover to. And you may be a winger, but at a moment like that where your defender is extended forward, you have to become the wing back and take his place till he can recover. the freedom to attack is about the ability to know where to recover to and how to cover each other. When you don't know that, then you're kind of stuck at your position, because if you go too far out of that position, you'll never get back to defend. So they did a good job on that one, covering for each other.
Borelli's to his feet. Borelli's being told to go off. Gotta wait a moment before he... I think Badawi will end him back on. Gallegos keeps it in play. Yuma steps up. Velasquez bounces off Schuberg. Velasquez wants it himself as he waves off Chapa Herrera.
I'll tell you, when you have a 2-1 lead on the road with 15 minutes to go, a guy like Velasquez is the magical player, because his ability to keep the ball and break pressure and keep your team in possession is just the greatest asset on the park right now.
Borelli back on. Drives it right into Matt Cardoni. Quickly gets rid of it. Zolly Wright switched out to the left side, now in possession. Justin Dillon, he's on the end of it. Dillon trying to stay with it, still in play. Ball is loose. Dillon cuts it back. It's Gallegos, and he plays it off the defender, and it'll come outside the area.
Great build-up, great composure in the box to try and keep the play alive.
That was a good job by Dillon just to keep the ball alive. Hanging along that byline. Here's Galito. Stays with it. Nice cut to the inside, and his shot gets blocked. And a foul on Galito.
But as I said before, is every single time San Antonio has the ball at their feet, it's almost as if the scouting El Paso's done is that the San Antonio player likes to hold the ball and likes to try and dribble through traffic rather than pass through traffic. And so every time they get a ball around the box, there are 3-4 players around them. They've got no place to go except to lose possession. So we have to be better at drawing those defenders and then releasing to find the open man.
Busy night for Matt Cardoni here, as particularly in the second half, he's made some key stops. Came into tonight tied for 4th in the USL, 44 saves. That was an early one on Josue Aaron Gomez. This was his best of the night on Eder Borelli. Had a free header inside the box in the second half. Stops Dylan Maris a couple of times as well up top. There's Maris' first attempt. There's his second one right there. And Matt Cardoni continuing to keep his club alive here as we come into the final minutes of the match.
Yeah, speaking about Dylan Maris, he's made quite an impact. Doesn't waste time coming off the bench. Gets 2 direct shots on goal, on target. Can be a dangerous player.
Final sub of the night for Locomotive is forward Leandro Carrijo. He'll take out Nick Ross here. And looks like Andrew Fox was going to also come on too. And this will be Andrew Fox's first appearance of the season. 28-year-old making his 43rd appearance for Locomotive. So Lucho Solignac will come off for Carrijo and Andrew Fox.
As a coach, it's always interesting. This is typical. You've got a goal lead, 10 minutes left if you had the extra time, bringing fresh legs into the game, bringing some information into the game. But it's also a dangerous time when you bring in fresh players like this, because it takes them a few minutes to get caught up to the speed of the game and what's really going out there. Because what they see from the bench is not always the same as being a player on the park. So they've got to really concentrate on making sure they get caught up into what's going on in the game.
Here's Nathan. We'll play it off the body of Borelli, and Ketterer will pick it up there. Sense Mark Lowry's trying to your point, he's using as many fresh legs as possible at this moment, trying to preserve the 3 points here.
Right, and that will also, pay dividends when they go into Saturday. saving a few minutes from some of his most important players' legs, knowing that all they really have to do is stay organized and do the hard work right now. Those guys who come in, it's about chasing and cutting angles and pressuring and save Solignac for another day.
And Fox came on for Nick Ross, who had the challenge of dealing with Jose Gallegos, but did well with him for much of the night.
Well, that's a perfect example. Again, they play the diamond, so Gallegos is running inside directly into the diamond. As you saw, if you had frozen the frame, he was 1 against 4. And so, again, recognition of numbers on the field. Where's the space that you can use to be dangerous and to free players into good attacking spots as something we have to do better with. It'll be a good game to study on film for their next game against them in a couple of weeks, for sure.
It's a giveaway on the far side. Fox couldn't keep possession. San Antonio has it. The time not on their side here as we're into the 89th minute. And a foul whistled in the middle of the park. Nathan resetting quickly to Ollie Wright.
Nathan's got to go find the box. He's spending too much time in the midfield.
Here he goes towards the box. He's down now. Dillon puts it across the face, a goal.
It's a great service.
There's no runner at the end of it, unfortunately.
Well, remember what I was saying is when you play against the diamond, your advantages are in the wide areas. And I think we've done a pretty good job tonight getting a service from wide areas through the 6-yard box. We're just not connected. Come very close.
Well, a furious finish coming up here. We'll see how much added time we get in the second half.
Now attack him wide. Attack him wide with your teammate here.
Glito. Dillon goes to ground. Gallegos staying with possession. Concedes.
No place to go. He's surrounded by 4.
Maris. Going to be a foul on Abu.
I played the diamond in 2016 with Indy 11, and we won the spring championship and then went to the finals against the Cosmos. There's a lot of brilliance to that system if there's the understanding of how to stay connected and defend with it and then use the spaces it creates. A lot of times you have wingers or wing midfielders that are clogging wide areas. The diamond creates space wide automatically for your wing backs to be able to push up and create the width you need, and then you have the numerical advantage inside. Like I said, I think film study over the next couple of weeks as you prepare to play this game against El Paso is going to be invaluable to the learning curve.
You get 4 minutes added time here at the end of the second half. San Antonio got their first goal in second half stoppage last Wednesday at Gallegos, put the finishing touches on a 3-0 win, but tonight he needs a magical goal at the death here just to earn a point for SAFC. Pressure from Carrillo, wins the ball, and now he's 1 against Schubert, 3 coming up as well. Carrillo stops, Carrillo into the box, trying to slide it past Cardoni.
I don't think I've ever seen a striker tackle like that. It's not usually in their repertoire.
Abu, Nathan makes his move. Looking for Dillon, well defended by Mishak Jerome. And now El Paso can try to play keep away here, but it's tough with Gallegos on you. And it'll be a foul.
Well, and El Paso will milk this, take as much time off the clock. It's just how you close out games when you've got a goal lead. Just take your time putting the ball back in play. These are the gamesmanships that go on. Not saying we like them, but it's just part of the game.
And San Antonio FC, who had not won back-to-back matches this season, certainly their run of form coming into tonight, much improved from when we last saw them on July the 3rd against Austin, which was their 7th consecutive non-win. And they've played much better tonight than they did certainly in that match against Austin, but still unfortunately may end up with the same result. It'd be a tough one to swallow too, Coach, because obviously, again, you're getting to the point where you're closing in on the halfway mark of the season. You're below the playoff line still. And these are the types of games, especially when you're at home, that you want to come away with something, even if it's not always the 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's not fair of me to speculate what these next 4 games mean after this, but 4 consecutive road games after losing your home game, we could be, looking at that New York Red Bulls game and saying there's no way there aren't enough points to catch up to the rest of the group. But hopefully we find form on the road and put this one behind us and learn from a game like this as to what we've got to do against a different type of system, different type of team. And it's not about the setback, it's about the comeback, right?
Yeah, and I think the group is so compacted right now here as Yuma's down on the pitch, and we'll certainly get some added time. And maybe we can show the standings again here while we have a moment. I mean, you have 7 points separating El Paso and San Antonio. It's 6 teams that are fighting for 4 spots right now. I just don't think there's going to be much separation. Even when we get into the second half of the season, these teams all play each other. And even just looking at last week's results on a Saturday night, every team ended up with a point in the top 6.
Right,
so, I mean, everybody took points. I just don't think there's going to be a lot of nights where one team takes 3 and another team takes none like we have here tonight.
Yeah, what you've heard me say before is make the season about winning the series against each team. So, we're in the first of 4 games against El Paso. We may not get the points tonight. They get the edge. But we've got to look at those other 3 games and say, point-wise, we have to catch up and try and eke out an advantage against that particular team. You do that against each team that's ahead of you the rest of the way, you got a very good chance to be in the playoffs.
Well, they'll have a chance to climb back over the playoff line on Saturday in Austin. You saw Bold is the team sitting in that last playoff spot, 2 points up on SAFC. And that'll certainly be the motivation for Saturday night up at Bold Stadium, the first visit to Bold Stadium this year, and certainly after Austin beat San Antonio at the beginning of July, 1-0 here at home.
Well, like I said, the goals against tonight are unfortunate, but we've created quite a few chances. Just our shots on target have not been what they need to be to expect to get goals out of it, but at least the shots and opportunities are there. And I think our overall style of play, particularly in the first half, showed great improvement in understanding of how we have to play the rest of the way in order to put ourselves in position to win points.
Maybe one last opportunity. Gallegos looking for a miracle. Bumped off the play. That will do it. El Paso Locomotive takes all 3 points here tonight at Toyota Field as they earn a 2-1 road win. And after going 18 in a row without a loss at Toyota Field, San Antonio FC has dropped 2 out of their last 3 here at home. And now we'll hit the road for 4 straight, Coach, as you see beginning Saturday night in Austin after a tough loss here to a Mountain Division rival, the leaders of the division, El Paso, and they played like the leaders here tonight.
They did. Great composure, great maturity as a team. They know their game plan, and I feel at this point of the season we're just starting to feel what we can be. And it didn't work out tonight, but looking at Austin, a team that we have no fear of, just up the road, I-35 rivalry. We'll be ready to go, and it'll be a great match.
Now 10 points separate San Antonio and El Paso from the top of the table. Well, it was a tough one tonight, but the season picks right back up Saturday. Saturday night, Austin Bold FC, the opponent. Tim and I will have the call here on Valley Sports beginning at 8. Now, for the coach, Tim Hankinson, our entire crew, I'm Dan Weiss saying so long. Your final, El Paso Locomotive, a 2-1 winner over San Antonio FC. This has been the presentation of the USL Championship and Spurs Sports and Entertainment. Have a great night, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.